We are gathered here in Stockholm as the United Nations marks 50 years. 50 years is twice my lifetime. For half a century, we have been trying to make the environment a pressing global issue. And what have we achieved?
For too long, there's been a lack of political will and a lack of political courage. For too long, we have been in a system where the government and the fossil fuel industry choose profit over people.
Nosotros no queremos petróleo. Muchos a nosotros nos tildan como opositores del desarrollo, pero plantar una empresa maderera, una empresa petrolera no es desarrollo para nosotros. Como indígenas estamos indignados, estamos muy molestos, por lo cual siempre la vamos a proteger, siempre la vamos a hacer respetar, les guste o no.
So we're not going to put a dent in climate change unless we undo the neocolonial economic structures, the global trade and financial architecture. And phasing out fossil fuels is part of that. We're already paying for the fossil fuel hidden costs with blood, tears, and money. And who's paying for it the most? It's the most vulnerable people in the global south, the voiceless communities.
A study published in Nature indicate that we need to leave 90% of the coal and 60% of the oil and gas reserves in the ground to even have a 50-50 chance of reaching the 1.5 degree target. Yet we see new coal plants being constructed, new LNG terminals being planned for, and continued investments in further exploration for more resources.
Let me be clear, 1.5 degrees is not the goal, but the human rights tragedy that can only be addressed by moving far away from all deadly and planet-killing fossil fuels.
As a climate scientist, I find it completely unacceptable that we're allowing up to 8-9 million people to die prematurely every year because of air pollutants caused by fossil fuel burning.
By the time you come to know, it's too late. So I decided that no, it's my duty, moral duty, obligation to come out and bring these images into public space to let people know what's happening inside the chest due to the effects of air pollution.
Climate change is humanity's great struggle, and we must leave here today with a renewed focus to bring down the causes of this catastrophe. We must end the age of fossil fuels, and we do that by ensuring that the treaty is endorsed by our cities and governments when we return home.
I truly believe that a fossil fuel non-proliferation treaty has the potential to become a true game changer in the fight against the climate crisis. The idea is simple and easy to understand, yet points to a true inconsistency in the global fight against the climate crisis.
And I think it's important to not let the slowest countries dictate the solutions and hold the rest of the world hostage to consensus rules. Through a treaty like this, it is actually the most progressive countries that will set the pace, that will set the rules, and others will then be pressured to catch up. It grows political pressure and clarifies what the actual problematic behavior is.
The world needs a plan to fairly phase out the extraction of coal, oil, and gas. And it needs to start now, today, right here in Stockholm.
And we want there to be a really strong, multi-religious voice as part of this global multi-sector choir, singing from the same hymn sheet, saying this is what is needed. These three pillars are absolutely unarguable from a moral perspective. Absolutely.
We don't want expansions, we don't want new explorations. We want the existing ones to be phased out, and we want, most importantly, just transition.
This is a campaign for the world's most vulnerable and humanity and our collective future. This is a campaign about what we must save, not what has been lost. This is a campaign to build ambition, not division. This is a campaign to uplift the goals of the Paris Agreement. This is a campaign for the young generations, call for justice.
Enough of 50 years of superficial summits. Enough of 50 years of broken promises. Enough of 50 years of delay and deception and cowardly political leadership.
We are calling on governments, policymakers, anybody that has the power to add their own efforts to ensure that more investments are made in this area. And if more investments are made, gradually we will see that it is possible to make fossil fuels useless, unimportant.
And getting countries and cities to sign on to a treaty is no easy task. We are not driven out of fear, but we are moved by love. For our homes, for our families, for our communities, for our planet, and for the generations to come.
It is our common responsibility today to take this idea, this change of perspective, back to our respective countries and organizations and turn it into reality.
And we are calling on leaders to join us. We have to build a better world together, one without fossil fuels, one that is sustainable, one that is built on justice, one where no one is left behind.